All right, welcome to the last episode for this Coil Pot project. As you guys saw before, I pretty much finished my shape, and now I'm left here with my pot. So, a couple things I want to do to wrap it up before I do my design. One, I'm not really happy with this top, so I'm going to try to take a needle tool, or I could use a knife. Let's try the knife. And I'm just going to cut off some of that where I see it's standing up too high, just a tiny bit. So I kind of just hold the clay and slide the knife and try to keep it nice and steady. And then I'm just going to pinch that shape and smooth it out. If I had a little bit more time, I'm sure I could get this a little bit more refined, but I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm gonna recycle it anyway because it's just an example for you guys. I wanna make sure this inside's nice and smooth, so I'm gonna smooth that out. I wanna check my handles to make sure they're not coming off or cracking. Sometimes they'll crack if they dry too quick. So we wanna check that. We wanna check our symmetry. I can use this one more time just to check my shapes. Kind of push out anywhere that needs to get pushed out. So that's sticking out a bit too much. All right, smooth that out. And let's just call it a day. So one more thing I would do, but I'm not gonna do it because of time. I would kind of trim this bottom up a little bit. So I would kind of even this out. Maybe I can just fix it by smoothing it. We always want to make sure we put our name on the bottom, so I'm going to write Sheriff. And then P for period, and whatever period you guys have me for class, so let's say this is period 2. I'm going to write P2. Doesn't have to be pretty, no one's going to look at the bottom of your pot. Alright, now the important thing about starting the design is I want to be careful with my pot. I don't really want to lay it on a table. If I have like a towel or some paper towels, that's probably a better option. So I'm gonna lay mine down if I'm gonna work on it on something soft. And how I'm gonna do my design is, let's turn it sideways so maybe you guys can see. I have some straight lines in my design. So I'm gonna start with that to make it easier so I can kind of judge how much space I have. And I can use anything I can find. I like to just use a little piece of paper. I'm gonna rip a piece of paper out of here to help me make some straight lines. So all I do is I kind of take the paper, and this is some firm paper, and just tilt it in there. Or you can take anything like a ruler, anything that is kind of sturdy. So I'm just going to use that and tilt that piece of paper, and that gives me my line. I'm going to do the same here. So that's a little trick. And then I'll go back in with my needle tool and really define that line. And I'll do the same on the bottom. So I'm only going to show you guys one side of my design. Let's say I'm going to do the UFO side because it's a little bit smaller. So remember, you guys don't want to do any details that are super tiny because it's going to be really hard, especially if you're using like a pointy pencil. I don't have a pencil sharpener, so I can't use it. But you guys can see right here. Let's not make a line I don't want to. Even a dull pencil makes a pretty decent line here. It's a little thick, but that's okay. So I'm gonna start with whatever details are in the front. So if we look at this one, I would either start with my alien and then do the background, or my UFO. Because I'm doing the UFO, I'm going to start with that towards the top. And since we sketched it on the same size that it is in real life, it's going to be a lot easier because I really just have to follow my sketch. So let's just do a little UFO quick. I'm gonna try to do this upside down so you guys can see. Something I don't want to do is lean it on the bottom, because as you guys see here, I kind of dented it. That's why I kind of wanted the napkin here to do that, or the towel. And then I have little lines. So I really want to take my time when I do this part. And I want to remember to drag the needle or the pencil instead of scraping it through, so I don't get any of those lines or those boogers. So if I do it this way, you guys can see it's a little chunky maybe. If I pull it through, it makes a nice smooth line. So smooth lines are what we're going for. We don't want chunky, rigid lines, because remember, when we fire ceramics, that kind of stuff will become sharp. I'm not sure I can do the cow upside down, so I'm gonna flip it around for just a second. And if I make a mistake, I can just kind of wipe my finger back over it and smooth that clay back in. And then, so all I'm gonna do is work on my design this way. So it's really just lines. I'm gonna do line work, not a lot of carving on this project. I can use some things for impressing like we did on our last project. So I'm gonna use the end of the needle there to press in the guy. And we'll press his head in. So I impressed the little alien in the spaceship. There's really not reason for you guys to stay here and watch the whole thing, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of the process to make clean lines. And then I would do my moon. So circles are tricky. I'm gonna try to keep that in the center. And then lastly, I'll do the mountains and the background lines. So we'll just kind of scroll that over there. So that's my line for the land. This is gonna be my line for the sky. And then I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do my mountains behind the aliens. So I don't have to follow my sketch exactly to a T, but you kind of want to get as close as you can. So I'm adding that texture to the mountains to really make them stand out more, to kind of look like rigid. And then up here, I'll put my moon. If you guys want to carve some stuff out too, that's fine. So basically what I'm going to do, and what I want you guys to do, we're going to carve in kind of roughly with the needle tool or a pencil our designs. And remember, I said I was going to add texture, so I'm just going to poke little dots all over the ground to kind of give off that sand texture. Using a pencil or a needle tool can be tricky, especially if you're doing super curvy things. So you want to try to do little lines at a time, not a lot of lines at once like you're writing with a pencil. Little lines. You don't want to make big circles. If I do a circle, I tend to do half a circle and then the other half. Let's just finish these mountains up. So drag that needle or that pencil through there instead of scraping it. Should make nice smooth lines. If I do have some rough lines, I'm gonna wait till this is almost dry, leather hard to dry, to take that pencil back through and really smooth them out and get all those little pieces out of there that are left over. But as you guys can see, that's pretty much my design. That's how I start. I can add all different kinds of texture. I can stamp stuff in. So I was going to use a screwdriver to do the stars, which I have right here, so let's just do it. So just like our last project, I can use impress. So if you guys find anything that will add a cool texture, go ahead and do that. And I think it'll really make the stars pop. Obviously I would come through, finish my bottom, and then I would finish my designs going along the top. So up here I just wanted stars in a line. So I wanted to pull some ideas from the Greeks, so I took the story and then I'm using kind of the symbols that they use around theirs. All right, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to cover with you guys about the design. I just wanted to show you how the pencil works. So again, I don't want to scrape through. If I make a mistake, I can just smooth over it. I want to pull through or drag through. So you guys see how that works? The pencil that's dull works a little bit better than the needle tool when it comes to the scraping. That won't scrape, where the needle tool, I'll make a bunch of lines here just to show you. So if we look up close at that, you guys can see all the little scraping marks on it probably. See how the surface is raised. What you don't want to do is wipe that off, because it's just going to smear back into your lines and kind of mess your lines up. I kind of want to cut it in half to show you guys the thickness of it all, but I kind of like this, so I'm not going to do that. So review for today. Designs are pretty easy. We're going to keep it kind of simple since this part is challenging. So we're just going to carve in our design. This is called incising if I'm cutting a line into the surface, because I'm technically not carving because I'm not removing clay. And then our sketches are due today, and I want you guys to send those to me. So have fun with it. Do something that you guys enjoy. Do something that tells me something about you, or something you want to look at, something you want to have in your house. Whether that's just a memory of something you want to remember, or whether it's something fun that describes like a hobby of yours or something you really enjoy. And that is it for the Coil Pot, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but otherwise, we're gonna get started on Tuesday, so make sure you guys are ready, and I will see you on Friday. Just kidding, I couldn't resist. We're gonna slice this bad boy down and see how good Sheriff did on his walls. See if I kept a pretty even thickness the whole way. Oh yeah, might be better than my pinch pot. But so this looks good, right? The part I didn't do very good was I left a bumpy inside, and that's because I rushed. So really we want that inside to look smooth. So if I wouldn't have rushed so much, I would have spent some time smoothing that inside, and as you guys can see, doesn't take very much work. I'm just using my thumb. So if I would have done this, it would have made my pinch pot go from maybe like a B to an A. So make sure you guys take your time. But yeah. Ooh, this side's really ugly. You want to see it? That's definitely not an A. So make sure you guys spend enough time doing that. But I'm kind of happy I cut it in half because it made me feel good. You guys can see that's really even. And that's what I want to go for the whole time. So I hope you guys shoot for the same thing.